Hey there, Legal Tea listeners. This is your host, Jenny Roselle. Today's episode of Legal Tea is a cautionary tale where we talk about a real life case with real life clients and real life facts, though of course their names are altered for confidentiality purposes. Today, as you may have caught by the name of the episode, we'll be discussing working with a professional versus a quote professional, kind of said in air quotes. And you know what I'm talking about, the quote professional that dresses the part, acts the part, and may even speak the part, but their product or their service is not what they promised or hyped you up about. So I recently met with a client that just, prior to my involvement, got yanked around so much. Let's start at the very beginning, and let's call them the Smith family. We've got Dad, we've got Papa Smith, and we have his two children, one son and one daughter. So I had a meeting with Dad's son and daughter. Dad was not present. Dad was not present because he was so physically and cognitively impaired that I was meeting with his son and daughter who were the dad's power of attorney. And side note, kudos to Dad here for equipping his children with this document. It is so vital in these situations. Without this document, and when someone's physically or mentally, their health is at issue, usually we're left with no other option except guardianship. So that was not the case here because Dad had once prepared and executed, well, he didn't prepare it, an attorney prepared it, and he executed a power of attorney to give his son and daughter the power to step in and manage his financial and legal affairs for him. So kudos, Dad. Following multiple strokes and broken bones, Dad had landed himself in a skilled nursing facility. When he got there, his son and daughter started asking questions, and specifically involving how the heck Dad was going to pay for this venture. Dad had some assets, not a lot, but some. So rightfully so, the son and daughter started wondering if there were any options to protect the assets that Dad did have without it all being spent at the nursing home. So they asked, and they thought they could trust the resource that they were asking. Somehow, some way, I'll never understand this, but somehow, some way, the son and daughter ended up getting involved with an organization that helps families navigate Medicaid. But the kicker was that this organization is in another state. And like I said, I will never know or understand why that resource directed this family to seek professional help from an organization in another state to interpret Indiana Medicaid that is a very state-specific set of rules. But they did. The son and daughter paid this organization money, and essentially this organization did one piece of a multi-piece puzzle, and then they randomly stopped helping, and I'm not even kidding. They stopped helping this family, so then the family demanded money back, and they never got a dime returned to them. So what does this family do? Again, they thought they could trust the professionals around them to direct them to appropriate and qualified resources. Instead of going back to the original resource that gave them that weird out-of-state referral, they went to the nursing home. And I'm not sure who specifically they talked to within the nursing home, but they asked this person about what their options are. And conveniently, the nursing home representative said, "Oh, Dad has too much money for Medicaid. He won't qualify. You just need to private pay us until the money runs out, and then he'll default going on Medicaid." Well, yeah, that is an option, but that is not the question that the family asked. That is a very biased answer, in my personal opinion, because the facility makes more money on private pay than what Medicaid pays them. So they just wanted the family's money, then they do the Medicaid application, and then just keep getting paid by Medicaid when Dad ran out of money. But hey, they asked if there were options to protect Dad's assets. And this representative gave them that one option. And it wasn't an option that would protect Dad's assets. Thankfully, the son and daughter realized that this didn't make any sense and kept pushing this representative, this nursing home representative, and eventually that representative gave them an attorney's name. Somehow it doesn't end there. I just feel so bad for this family. The representative gave them an attorney that did estate planning. And I don't super duper blame them for this one because so many people don't understand or know that talking about planning for long-term care and affording long-term care is really what elder law is. You notice that my firm name has estate and elder law in it because we do both. We do estate planning and we do elder law. That's why I talk about both of these estate and elder law issues on this podcast. Estate planning is about planning for incapacity and or death by creating documents like power of attorneys, healthcare directives, wills, and trusts, while elder law is helping families often navigate long-term care by discussing how to qualify for benefits like Medicaid, even when you have assets in your name. So unfortunately, the nursing home sent this son and daughter to an attorney that does not do elder law. Crazy enough, well, it's not crazy to me because I understand why, but my firm has several attorneys that do estate planning that refer to us for elder law issues because they don't want to dabble in elder law. And kudos to them for knowing this and sticking within their wheelhouse. Dad, son, and daughter called that estate planning attorney's office, scheduled with them, and naturally it took 2 or so weeks to meet with them, and end up finding out in the meeting that this attorney doesn't handle elder law and Medicaid planning. So what did this family lose? Time. And in these situations, time is literally money because dad is in a nursing home, private paying every day. Not to mention, the estate planning attorney charged a consultation fee, so there goes that few $100 too. The estate planning attorney ultimately got them to my office. And again, getting into my office is also not instantaneous, but nonetheless, they got in front of me. So I hop on the meeting, and it was done by Zoom. So I hop on the meeting, and I start talking to the son and daughter about what they've experienced. And I just sat there in awe that it took them how long and how much money to finally get to me. Me as in someone that 1, knew exactly what to do, 2, would take good care of them, and 3, not take their money and run like that out-of-state organization. Rightfully so, the son and daughter had major trust issues. I remember being on that meeting, and while I didn't want to be remedial and explaining what needed to be done, that's what I was doing. I was kind of starting from the ground level and just kind of explaining what needed to be done. And the son and daughter had unfortunately heard this song and dance before, right? So the son politely stopped me and said, "I truly don't mean to be rude, Jenny, but I know exactly what needs to be done because I've heard this 2 times now and 3 times with you. So I just want someone to help us." And that broke my heart. I knew he wasn't being rude. He was tired of being yanked around. Honestly, if I were in his shoes, I'd be tired of it too. Thankfully, while they had been burned in the past, they did trust me. They trusted yet another professional, but this time at least a qualified professional, to help their dad. And lucky for them, I'm exactly what they had been looking for. I got to throw on my little superhero cape and come to the rescue. I think this cautionary tale opens up the big ol' issue of, okay, Jenny, that sounds so fine and dandy, but how in the world do you know if the person or professional in front of you is who you should be in front of? And I think 2 phrases come to mind: word of mouth and do your research. Something I often tell clients is that they are not alone. Many individuals and families are in similar situations. If you're facing an issue like dad, son, and daughter were, Start asking around. See if you know of anyone around you that has experienced or is it experiencing the same or similar thing. Even if they don't have a resource for you, maybe they know someone who does. But don't just take that one resource and move on. Keep going, keep trudging. If you have more than one person around you that you can ask all of them. You may pick up a valuable nugget along the way. Heck, there are even great public online forums that you can get referrals from. And I'm thinking of things like the Nextdoor app or Facebook pages, how they have those neighborhood pages that you could even throw out the situation to see if anyone has any good resources or referrals that they have personally used. The key to all this is not just doing one thing and picking that one resource. Instead, you need to be like a little squirrel and gather the nuts and store them. Beyond that, do your research. And I can speak for the legal industry and say that a good attorney will be able to identify an issue and say, hey, that's within my wheelhouse. Or say, this is not within my wheelhouse, but this is who, or if not who, this is the kind of lawyer that you should talk to. So if it's a legal issue, ask an attorney. Say, here's my issue. What kind of attorney will I need? Local bar associations are great resources for you too. Like here in Indiana, there's the Indiana State Bar Association. There's the Indianapolis Bar Association. There's even local county bar associations that you could simply ask that question. Hey, I have XYZ issue and I think I need a lawyer, but I don't know what type of lawyer I need. Like with dad's son and daughter, the estate planning attorney that they landed in front of ultimately said, you don't need me, you need an elder law attorney. Go see Jenny. A handy little tip. I'm a firm believer in attorneys specializing in specific areas. If an attorney also does, if an attorney only does XYZ law, they are going to know XYZ law like the back of their hand. And that's what you want. So for a lawyer, Google them. See what type of practice areas that they market themselves as. For example, I recently had a lawyer reach out to me in a case where I am representing the executor of an estate, and this lawyer is representing one of the estate's beneficiaries. And I had not heard of this lawyer before, which is no, big thing. So I find this lawyer, I Googled her, I found the lawyer, and she advertises herself to be a criminal defense lawyer. What? And you're randomly taking a case involving probate and estates? I think it's a conglomeration of all these things. Ask around, ask for referrals, do your own research, and trust your gut. I'm always happy to be a resource for people, for Legal Tea listeners in Indiana. So if I can ever help you find a referral or a resource for any of you, you know where to find me. Just shoot me an email, legalteapodcast@gmail.com, and I've got your back. I will get you into a better place than where I found you. Alrighty, that ends this cautionary tale episode. Next week's topic is a current event, a current trend. So something I've seen or run across that I think would be interesting to talk about on here. Next week, I'm going to be a little late to the hashtag Betty White Challenge party, but we're going to be talking about that, sort of. We're going to be talking about incorporating pets into your estate plan. I think with Betty White's unexpected passing, well, is it still unexpected if the person's 99 years old? I don't know. But anyways, I think with Betty White's passing and Betty's love for animals, I'm considering this a current event, a current trend topic, appropriate topic, and just a total excuse to talk about animals because everyone knows I love my doggies. And little insider secret, I got a new puppy over the weekend. So Maybe that's why I'm inspired to talk about pets. Anyways, until then, Legal Tea listeners, be well and talk soon.